everyone for coming to have a little chat about everything we're doing in terms of Recondition the Nation, Eat, Drink, Dress, Move, and just trying to get people a bit more active in healthcare of older people at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Obviously this kind of kicked off a couple of years ago in line with the Recondition the Nation movement, and just wanted to have a little chat about what you guys are doing, having kind of kicked that off a couple of years ago on your wards, and just tell people a little bit more about where we're going with it, what our plans are, and your kind of stories behind what you've tried to implement here. So in terms of sort of the benefits of this kind of initiative and these projects, let's chat a little bit about kind of what the benefits are for the patients and for yourselves as staff, for relatives, and that kind of patient journey throughout the hospital. So if anyone's got anything they want to share in terms of benefits.
Yeah, I think it's been really good for me that being able to share best practice and pick up what other people do in their roles and then kind of adapt to that. And I found that really interesting. Actually.
So what other roles were you not aware of that you're now more aware of coming together with this work?
I mean, speech and language has been huge in healthcare and just all of the different factors that build into the patient's journey here and getting them eating, which then links into. So I found that really interesting.
Nice. And anyone else kind of picking up on understanding more about everyone's roles and how we all kind of play a part in kind of that whole journey?
I think one of the biggest things that I've found, I guess, is around sort of that pressure damage, so getting people up and moving. Something that we looked at mainly on Harbour Ward was around getting them up and moving, making sure that they're not spending too long into one position, was helping to relieve that damage that potentially was we would find in healthcare of the elderly, or older people I should say. You would see that breakdown, or can see that breakdown of their skin, so getting them up and getting them moving, we were seeing the reduction in that, and it was better for our patients, better centred care.
We've done some ad hoc teaching as well, didn't we, and we empowered some of the HCAs on how to assess patients and feel comfortable, especially over a weekend when there isn't the physios around, empowering them to actually be able to assess the patients and feel really confident in doing it, isn't it? And we've seen a massive benefit from that.
And I think it's that case of it's everybody's role and responsibility to kind of make this a priority, because it impacts on all of our roles, doesn't it? How did you guys go about doing that training and teaching? Was it just kind of informally?
So initially we was going to do a day, wasn't we? And then we was trying to get the day and the staffing would dip, and so we ended up just doing a bit of ad hoc and just going into the bays, didn't we? And it was just 10 minutes with a member of staff, so we're all in there. So we're all there for the patients, so we know the patients are safe, but we're delivering that training. So we found that the best way to do it, didn't we?
Absolutely. I think also spending time where if a patient did need sort of more assistance of two people, sort of asking the staff to work collaboratively. It didn't have to just be from a physiotherapy perspective, it could be us and OT and the nursing staff, and I found actually that then as a whole we were all developing, we were learning from each other, which I think was really important.
For me as well, every patient is a unique person, so it's no all patients is the same, so we have to work with them individual and make them independent longer as possible. So we can help, encourage. Sometimes we have to educate it about things around them. So support them there and provide a long living as well.
That's it, and I think if everyone's sort of shared goal is that kind of making someone independent for as long as possible, or maintaining what they've got for as long as possible, then we're all kind of moving towards the same thing. And you picked up nicely on kind of empowering the patient themselves, so a lot of it is us and our responsibility to promote those principles and promote movement, promote eat, drink, dress, move, but actually informing the patients themselves to do it is really important. And obviously we've kind of developed a lot of these leaflets and posters and stuff that are kind of going up on the ward, which sort of helps that message get across and everyone sort of working on that same kind of goal.
However, it's really important to involve family or carers to support the patients, So, for example, we in Harborne we do All About Me. Is a form which one help to us how we can provide the caring for the patient when in stressing times, how patient feel comfortable, what we can do in that moment. So I think that's for us is really important.
And I think it does have a massive impact on relatives and carers and family, you know, because if they see their loved one in hospital in a bed, that's not very nice to see, and they look unwell, don't they? But if they're up and sat out in a chair, dressed, they're eating normally, they've got character, they've got kind of their personality there, it makes the family feel a lot better and that they're being cared for too.
Yeah, it's a more positive experience all round then, isn't it?
I always think like as well to how I feel to be in hospital. I would like to still look nice, still have provide my food, have my drinks, and have that general conversation with my neighbors on the next bed or friends or staff, because I don't like to be lonely in a hospital, because this is different and in something new and environment for me, and patient could be confused sometimes as well. So we here to all of us to support them.
And I think it's making our normal practice that kind of promoting routine and what someone would normally do in the community or at home. So in terms of kind of what things you're trying to promote on the wards, what activities are you doing to tap into that kind of social activity, that kind of normal routine?
So in Edgbaston at the moment, we are trying to get people out of bed, sat out before having breakfast in the morning, because that's what we'd normally do in our own environments, and that's been a big push. And you know, slowly we're getting there to see people sat out before having breakfast. None of us would lie in our beds to have our breakfast. So and understanding why we're doing it, I find, is really important as well. It's not just promoting that we have to do this, but if people understand that, people would eat better. When they eat better and drink better, then the outcomes for coming into hospital will ultimately be better as well. So that's really interesting to see. So we're pushing that on Edgbaston at the moment, and
and I think it's that thing of we're so used to bringing everything to the patient and kind of doing it in a certain way to make it easier for ourselves on the ward, but actually it's probably easier for the patient to get up first before they set out, before they have breakfast. It's probably kind of more normal for them in a different environment to kind of keep as much normal as possible is really kind of beneficial. And I think it's not a big change, is it? It's just moving kind of washes, dresses, sitting out and stuff, just around a little bit to promote that normal routine.
I mean, it's interesting you say it's not a big change. It might not be for us, but then it might make such a difference to the patient. The impact it has, you know, could be absolutely phenomenal for them. So it's like those little changes that we think is not massive might actually be really good for our patients.
And then we have to look after in the future. If what's happened if we provide everything to them, to the patients, when they come back to home, they'll be like, I don't know what to do now. Before somebody provide me food, I don't know what I do. So they have to keep going, they're practicing as well, how to use fork or not.
I mean, because a lot of our patients as well, some of our patients, as we know, have dementia. It is important to keep to their routine as best as possible, like you say. So when they get back to their own environment, they're not completely so
I really noticed that with washing and dressing, because in OT we do a lot of that, and the joy of someone having a real shower, as they always say, is really, really nice, because it can be quicker or easier to just bring the water bowl to them, but just that walking to the shower, them setting up, then turning it on,
comes back to that point of think of how you would feel in hospital. If someone was washing you and doing everything for you, you'd be like, no, I can do it myself. So actually, why do we treat older people any differently? If they know they can do it and they come in and they've been doing it themselves, we should be promoting that rather than trying to help too much.
I think as well, you just need to ask when you go in. Don't just assume you've got to do the wash in the bed and do it all for. Ask them. You know, can you do your face and hands? Can you reach your back? Can you get under to do it's just finding out what they can do as well.
And they still have a right to make decision about what's happened with me, how I want to do in my day, or so they still can make decisions.
Absolutely. It's having the patient at the heart of everything that we're doing, and what do they want to do, and how can we support that rather than just do it for them. Yeah, fab. So what other things are we, obviously we've got kind of our patient information that we're getting out there to patients, staff and relatives. What other things are we doing on the wards to kind of push this, obviously changing up the routine a little bit? Claire, do you want to talk about the love mobility sort of tree that you've got?
So I've always felt really empowered, like on the ward, because you know Stacey is really open to ideas, and you guys are too. So we have developed like a tree that patients mobilise to and stick a little heart on at the moment, because obviously Valentine's Day is coming up. But I think we're hoping that it will just be adaptable to Easter, Diwali, you know, all of the different celebrations, that we can stick other stickers onto the tree and just build a big picture of showing patients a visual of what they've achieved. It's really nice to see kind of some of the staff members really getting involved, and you know, we've had one lovely patient who has such a smile when she achieves getting that sticker on there, and then walking back, you know, it's really lovely.
That sounds great. And I think that's what makes our job really nice as well, like sense of sort of satisfaction and enjoyment at work, which we know can be really tough in this kind of environment. And I like that you feel empowered. I think what I really set out to achieve with all of this work was that anybody can have an idea, and anybody can try these things. It doesn't have to come from the top down, you know, being told what to do. You know, if you've got ideas, there's no big or small idea that we can try. And I think because we've got this collaboration amongst the MDT, it makes it a lot easier to kind of suggest those things, which is really nice.
And it's the holistic care that the patient then receives from. It's not just the mobilising, it's their mental health, it's the eating and drinking, and it's absolutely phenomenal.
Fab. So in terms of kind of feeling empowered, has anyone got any other ideas that they want to try in the future, or things that they've been thinking about?
Currently on Harborne Ward, as you know, it's being renovated in the day room. We've got a jukebox and stuff that's being delivered, so we've got an idea, haven't we, of workout Wednesdays. I've spoken to Claire as well about bringing back some of the exercise classes, so we're looking at what days we could schedule that on, and then starting really with a breakfast club. So getting them up, getting them ready, dressed, and then going into the day room, and then we're having breakfast in the day room.
Nice.
I think for me, the sort of transition from one side of heritage to the other, is kind of taking some of those ideas and taking some of the things that we've done, the exercise classes, the challenges that we've done, hopefully over to the other side, and trying to encourage it for them and for their patients.
Perfect. So for those of you who don't know, Leanne was predominantly on sort of Harborne Ward over this side, and then in our East block she's moved over to the East wards. So I think that's a really good point, because we have a lot of rotational staff within therapies, and it's about how can we harness the new ideas from staff coming through, but also maintain the momentum from those ideas that we've had with the staff here. So and again, it just promotes that spread, doesn't it, across not only healthcare of older people, but then out to their other rotations across the hospital, and hopefully it can just build, which I think we are slowly doing, aren't we? I think we're going to do a launch in the atrium at the end of the month, to try and capture people walking past our kind of atrium stall, and get people and staff from other areas to kind of think, oh, what is Eat, Drink, Dress, Move? How can I take that into my kind of clinical practice and my clinical area? So obviously all you guys can be involved to sort of spread the word there as well.
It's kind of continuing that momentum that you're talking about, isn't it? That drive to, we're not just doing something and then stopping, we're kind of doing something, evaluating it and adapting it, and then going forward and say continuing with the drive of Eat, Drink, Dress, really.
Absolutely. And there's other ways that we're trying to do that, obviously through our HCOP newsletter as well. So Stacey and I work quite closely to put those good news stories out there, and not only just share within our team, but out to all the other teams across the site and across all the other 3 sites as well with UHB. And I'm just grateful that there's always content to put in there, isn't there? There's always stuff going on, which is really great. And I think that again then just kind of inspires and empowers people to consider more and more stuff.
From a nursing point of view, I would say as well that our matrons are really on board with
Yeah.
drink dress move.
Yeah.
So, you know, having that extra support helps us on the ward to then push things further.
Definitely.
So that's been really positive.
Yeah, and likewise I found that support from matrons is really good, and that's how I've been able to kind of reach you guys. So
and our meetings, it's evident in who attends the meetings as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so our frailty and deconditioning kind of working group, trying to again bring all those ideas together and then establish little work streams for different groups to do. There's just a lot going on. And you guys are all doing a great job of it.
And we get to see kind of how much of a difference it makes to patients as well. Like you said about moving the exercise classes to the east side. There was one on East Granby last week. Yeah. And one of the patients who I saw just for something else was telling me all about it. She was like showing me all the exercises with her hand. And she was just so excited.
Yeah, they do love it.
Really nice.
And I think it's really difficult in this environment to maintain that and to kind of prioritise that, because there's such a push to, you know, that patient flow, get people out, get new people in. I think taking that time to just do something that we enjoy as staff, but that you can see the patients enjoy, just has such a huge impact. And it will, the more we do it and the more we prioritise that, the more people will just do it normally. Like that's just part of our normal day.
Part of the routine.
That we just need to keep
Touching on what these guys were saying though as well, is that if we can, you know, instill that and that becomes the norm, you're going to see that reduction in length of stay. You're going to see that, you know, reduction in the need for, you know, like half or 2 beds of you know, residential or nursing homes. You're going to see people having more independence, returning back home, and not having any dependency or reduced dependency on other people, which ultimately is the goal, isn't it? Is to keep them as independent and, you know, continue with their wishes and their goals for as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, it's reducing any infections, pressure ulcer. That's and obviously is a bigger picture that, you know, patient want to go home soon as possible to moving, eating, drinking. That encourage patient to do that. You know, reduce the stay in hospital as well.
And I think again, it comes back to that empowering and educating the patients from day one, like say, finding out how they normally do things at home and making sure that's maintained throughout.
Educating us as well, because you do a lot of training. And the first one I went to about deconditioning, it really shocked me how quickly it happens. Just knowing that kind of really instills this responsibility of like, I can't let that happen.
I think it's that continuous kind of rolling program of education, you know, not just doing it once and hoping that people, you know, remember it, but actually keeping at the forefront of everyone's mind and really just pushing these principles makes it that priority for everyone.
And also we can adopt this program in our families, personal families. So if you somebody have grannies or you know, uncles, you know, we can encourage them and educate about them in a home environment.
That's true. So my nan was recently in hospital and she was on a trolley for 6 days. And they didn't mobilise her because she was really unwell. But when I then got them out, sitting them out, and then everybody else in the bay, the staff were taking note and then sitting the patients out, and it made such a difference.
And I think that's it, isn't it? It's kind of we've probably all got our own story personally about sort of someone that's been affected by deconditioning, that you really want to drive that in your patients and not kind of allow anyone else to suffer from those kind of associated harms. And it is, as we picked up on, that domino effect, isn't it? As soon as someone deconditions, it knocks off, you know, pressure damage, you know, the UTIs, infections, digestion, cognition. There's so many things that it affects, and that within our roles we all kind of tap into. That actually, if we're all working together, it makes things a lot easier and it provides better care for patients, better outcomes. That's really good.
And this is about us as well. One day we get old as well. We've been old, so we can think about that as well. How eating and drinking, healthy lifestyle, how is important that to obviously to come into the last stage in our lives.
Definitely. I think it's that thing of practice what you preach, isn't it?
We're
telling everyone to do this, but actually we can apply it to ourselves.
We have to think about ourselves as well.
Lead by example. I think we've spoken about that before. Obviously, you bringing in matrons and kind of as a seniors, we need to be putting that message out there, whilst empowering kind of people underneath us to really step up and do what they think they can do.
If we invest our time and staff see us getting involved and the importance of it and doing it, you get that buy-in from the staff then, don't you? 'Cause it's not just another thing that the staff think we're making them do. Oh gosh, here's another idea. But if you're there and you're doing it with them and highlighting the importance, and it's important to you, then you get that buy-in from the staff.
And so obviously we know that seeing the patients enjoy themselves and kind of better outcomes for patients on the wards is really beneficial. In terms of like your enjoyment in work, how has kind of these little projects and these little activities, how has that impacted on how you feel coming to work and, you know, job satisfaction and progression and development in your roles?
I think it's really satisfying when you see somebody, you know, lying in the bed for days and days and not moving, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're sitting on, they're out, they're in the chair, they're on the frame, they've walked to the bathroom, the family comes in, what have they done? Oh, we've walked here, we've gone down the corridor. It's great. Not only have they built their confidence, patient confidence, but the family are just so chuffed. They can see there's that level of improvement. You can sit there and
you did that, you played a role in that, absolutely. Definitely.
I mean, from a management point of view, I would say that a lot of our nursing care outcomes are managed through metrics, where there's loads of dashboard, and if I'm sending those emails and it's like, well done everyone, you know, we've managed to do this, it's a lot nicer than sending, you know, that patient has got a category 2 pressure damage because we haven't sat the patient out. So, and that has an effect on the staff as well, because you know, they're getting a lot more positive feedback than negative. So for me, that's how it's made that difference.
It's always good sending out those nice positive emails, isn't it? And also for us with the metrics, highlighting to the staff, well actually this benefits the patient in this way, and if you see a reduction in pressure ulcers, and you can share that and just say, well done guys, say if we've done an audit and we've said 10 patients are sat out before 10 o'clock, well done guys, and then linking it to reduction in pressure ulcers and reducing harm.
It makes you kind of drives you to kind of do the same thing again tomorrow.
Exactly.
And it's actually being rewarded and getting somewhere. And I think what we do well in this team is celebrating those successes, so then it isn't just kind of ignored and forgotten about, and you don't feel like you're just, you know, ploughing through and working really hard without it being recognised. You recognise it in your patients, but you also recognise it kind of internally that you're doing a good job. So that's really good. And I guess just in terms of like your own development and things like that, obviously we're all very clinical and we want to develop our clinical skills, but there's a huge skill in itself to think of ideas and think, or notice a problem and think of a solution to it. So does anyone have any experience of feeling like they've really developed, or they've, you know, gained some other kind of non-clinical skills through this work?
I think I started this role a year ago, and I'd never done anything like it before, so I was learning as I went and I had really good support around me. And now I feel really empowered that I can come to any of you with ideas, and even if they're silly ideas, you know, we can adapt them, we can change them, we can develop them, and I do feel really lucky that I was able to join this team specifically and have that opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't want to say something.
It's just a sense of feeling proud, even in this conversation that we're having. It's just feeling so proud of what we all have achieved, and to, you know, that MDT working, and it helps drive that motivation the next day. I want to continue to do well and continue progressing my practice and how best I can help, you know, not only the patients but the people around me. You know, and if we can continue to empower, you know, new starters and hopefully, you know, perhaps the existing starters or existing staff members, who, you know, perhaps just need that little bit of encouragement and need to feel actually they can make change, and change is important. But I've myself personally, I've had loads of, you know, positive rewards, really, really nice, and it just makes coming back into work, it does make it nice.
Like I say, especially in this environment when you do have those kind of metrics and things that are constantly hammered, it's nice to just reflect back on actually how much you guys are all achieving, and as a team we're all achieving, to give you a reason to kind of get up in the morning and come into work. That's really good.
Sometimes it's just seeing that smile on that patient's face, and you think that's the reason I got up
The satisfaction you get just from the littlest of things, like the smile, it just makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Definitely. So obviously, like I say, a big organisation like this, it does get lost sometimes. What do we think our top tips are for anyone else out there, kind of in a bigger organisation or a smaller one, for implementing change or thinking of ideas and trying things out? What do we want to?
Buy-in. Getting the buy-in, that's a massive thing. Don't try and rush. Work on getting that key buy-in and the engagement.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely, isn't it?
And how have we achieved that, do you think?
Meet with the staff, with your idea,
teamwork, listen
Yeah.
what people have to say, what staff have to say, listen, talking about experience, talking about improvements, suggestions, what we can do, how we can improve, which way we will be better to do this or organize something better. My manager, she's always open to ideas, so that is good encouragement as well.
I think and like you say, listening, it's not a top-down approach. It's everybody has a voice, everybody has an opinion, and actually, getting everybody together in a room, is the way forward. It's so that you're going to be able to hopefully, like you say, get that buy-in and come up with that shared goal. That's something that's really important, isn't it? It's having the same goal that you're working towards.
It's like, this is the idea, how can we make it work?
And you need everyone on board for that.
You do, and everybody's ideas to make it work.
At the end of the day, it's a team effort, so we have to work as a team, and then we're working on the one hospital, so that's a bigger picture as well, and we can share ideas. How we can improve different wards, or we can support other wards. We can support you guys in the if you wish, or we can come together with the matrons
Just be open to the fact that there may be barriers along the way. You have peaks and troughs. That's just natural with any change, isn't it? Absolutely. That's why we review it.
Not to get disheartened by when things don't work as you plan, or there is a dip in that kind of engagement and buy-in and that push, but always have it in the back of your mind that we can kick it off again and we can try again. I think that's
just because it didn't work the first time, what did work well? Because there will always be something that you can tweak.
My tip would be going back to the start of this conversation, which is that little change might make a huge impact to your patients.
No idea is too small or too silly. I think the smaller changes and ideas can often be the best ones, the biggest ones, the biggest impact.
Definitely make a difference.
So it's getting all those ideas and thinking, how's it going to work and how are we going to achieve this? And I think I like what you say in terms of sharing it. I think that's what I really love about the ReconditionTheNation Ambassadors Group, is that I get to hear from people all over the country in different trusts what they're doing, and we can kind of get ideas from them, and we can share our ideas. So it's that wider network, isn't it? Seeing what else is going on outside of our trust and our little area, and bringing those ideas in.
It's nice seeing it all over Twitter, isn't it? People what they're all doing, and
that's
really
nice.
Nice.
Where like a lot of my ideas come from, and a lot of my kind of leadership style and kind of way of doing things come from, is seeing how it gets done elsewhere and what's been successful elsewhere to then try over here as well.
I think asking for help as well, and that's something that you always do sort of say, I've got this idea, you email us or you ask us what we think, and it just makes us feel very included and involved as well.
Seeking feedback from those that it's going to impact, the people that are going to be doing it, need to kind of know how it feels to them as well. Definitely.
Something that I found really useful was just shadowing people, even if it was just for an hour, and if they were doing, going to see somebody to have a look at how they were eating with speech and language, or I'd love to start having a look at washing dressing in the morning, but I found that really helpful to understand what other people do.
Comes back to that earlier, doesn't it? Through this work we've managed to understand more about each other's roles and how we can work together and how it all fits in, because if we're trying to preach this to our patients, we need to know how it all kind of fits in within our roles, which is fab. Just a final fab. Thank you so much for sharing all your experiences. It's been a really lovely chat to kind of reflect on what we've been doing, and hopefully we can take all of this and all these tips and everything forward, and keep kind of working on stuff to get everyone up, dressed, eating, drinking, moving, and kind of keep that message going. So thank you for all your hard work and for agreeing to kind of chat with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.